Okay, graphing quadratic functions by completing the square. We're going to take a standard form equation and turn it into a completed square form, which will allow us to draw it on the graph. So we go y equals, we're dealing with the first two terms, and I need a positive 1x squared. Leave some space there, and then we'll throw out the plus 8. So remember, going into completed square form, we go x, this sign, plus half of this value, 1, quantity squared. Okay, now we move back up to this line, so we're going to square x plus 1 squared, which will give us x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now I've changed it, so at this point right here, I'm going to subtract 1, only now this minus sign comes in, so it'll be minus 1, which is plus 1. And so that finishes it and gives us here a plus 9. So this is the completed square form. So from this, we know that it opens down. There's no vertical stretch, okay, and there's no number here. The vertex is at -1, 9, and so we should be able to go graph that. So drag this down. We're opening down. We are at -1, 9. So -1. And note the scale on the y's is by 2, so there's -1, 9. It opens down. If I go 1 unit, then I would go down 1. Right? There's no vertical stretch, and the same here. If I go 2 units, then I would go down 4. So that would be from 9 to 5. And symmetrically here, going 3 units would be down 9. And 3 units this way from the vertex, which is at -1, 9. 4 units would be 16. So that would be another 7. Symmetrically here, and 5 units would be 25. That would take us to -16, and the same thing over here. And I think we pretty much have enough in how well I will be able to do in sketching this. And coming back down through. And of course, arrows on both ends. I can't see my pen. And this would be number 1, graph number 1. Now if we want to find other characteristics of this from the original equation, we know that the y-intercept is 8. If I want to get x-intercepts, we can set y to 0. And then solve. -9 will be -x plus 1 squared. 9 is x plus 1 squared. Plus or minus 3 is x plus 1. So x is -1 plus or minus 3, which will be -1 plus 3 is 2, and -1 minus 3 is -4. So we should see those intercepts at 2 and -4. And we do. There we go, at 2 and at -4, and our y-intercept at 8, and our vertex at -1, 9. Okay, and I won't go into necessarily all of this detail with the other ones. We'll just basically complete the square and graph them. So what I'm going to do is just clear me some space here. So just give me a moment. Okay, I've got some space cleared, so let's move on to number 2. Y equals, we're going to factor a 2 out, because remember we can only do this with a single x squared. -4x, leave some space, -10. Going down to the next line, we got the 2. X minus this sign, half of 4 is 2. Quantity squared, x minus 2 squared is x squared minus 4x plus 4. Now I added 4, I got to subtract 4, but when that comes out I'll multiply it by 2. 2 times minus 4 is minus 8, and we have minus 18. This parabola opens up, has a vertex at 2, negative 18, and is vertically stretched by a factor of 2. Okay, so opens up, vertex 2, negative 18, and vertically stretched by 2. Okay, so let's go graph that. We're going to need 2, negative 18. So here we are at 2, negative 18. There's the vertex. We open up. Vertically stretched by a factor of 2 means I go over 1, up 2. Okay, and that's the scale here, right? Over 1, up 2. Over 2, I'm going to go up 4. That'll be 14, and symmetrically on the other side. Over 3, we would normally go up 9. We are now going to go up 18. There's an x-intercept, and then here's another x-intercept. Over 4, we would go up 16. We would now go up 32, which will take us to positive 14 here, and on this side here, and that's probably about all that we can do. So let's sketch this. And I'm doing this on a tablet, so I'm sketching where I can't see. So it's a pretty rough sketch. We have a y-intercept looking at about 12, but we can verify that, of course. No, sorry, negative 10. So that's just my drawing. So y-intercept at negative 10. X-intercepts, if you factored this, or if we take the 18 over, make it positive 18, divide by 2 is 9, square root, we'll get x minus 2 is plus or minus 3. And so adding 2 to both sides will give us a 5 and a negative 1. And those are our roots, 5 and negative 1. And then this really should be at 10 here. And there's our x-intercepts. And so we have a pretty nice sketch, or at least it would be if I could, graph it while I was seeing it. Okay, 2 more. Okay, number 3, y equals, factor out the 2, gives us an x squared plus 5 halves x, leave some space, minus 12. Completing the square, we go 2, we get x plus half of 5 halves is 5 fourths squared, 5 quarters squared, which is what's going to go in here, is plus 25 over 16. Now if we add that, we also have to subtract it, so I'm going to go minus 25 over 16, but multiply it by 2 on the way out, and that will become minus 25 over 8. Combining these two, we have 96 over 8 minus 25, 96, 106, 116, minus 121 over 8. And so we have opening up, opens up, vertex, negative 5 fourths, negative 121 over 8, y-intercept of negative 12. X-intercepts can be determined as before, and they are negative 4 and positive 3 halves. And I'm going to leave this to you to graph. You can graph this. Again, opens up, vertically stretched by a factor of 2, so VS by 2. And you can draw the graph of that on the grid below. And we got one more, negative 3x squared minus 6x. So let's clear some space. Okay, y equals negative 3, factor that out, we get x squared plus 2x. Leave some space, close the bracket. There's nothing out here yet. Y equals negative 3, x plus, half of 2 is 1 squared. So 1 squared is plus 1. I'm also subtracting 1, so minus 1, but times negative 3. So that becomes plus 3, which carries here, because there was nothing to add that onto. So it opens down. There's a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. A y-intercept of 0. And the vertex, most importantly, right, because that's what we're doing in a completed square form, is getting the vertex, is negative 1, positive 3. And so, let's see, I guess we can sketch this one. Which way are you going? Down, vertex at negative 1, 3. You know what, I'm just going to clear this off and then we'll grab. Okay, vertex at negative 1, 3, opens down, vertically stretched by a factor of 3. So if I move over 1 unit, I'm going to go down 3, which will take me to 0. There's your y-intercept, also one of the x-intercepts. And if I go 1 unit this way, if I move 2 units to here, then I'm going to go down normally 4. I'm going to go down 12, which will take me to negative 9. And similarly, by symmetry over here, if I were to move 1, 2, 3, 4 units, would normally be 16. We're going to go 3 times that, which is 48. We're not going to be able to see that on here. So we're going to draw as best we can, and down, and down. I should take this one further down. There we go. And so that is number 4. And I cannot see my, there we go, that's number 4. So that's it for this. Homework questions as in the book. And here we go, like 12 minutes of this, and you got a whole chance to do your homework. Just ask each other for help, and if you need further help, you can go down the hall and ask Ms. McKay. And I'll see you Friday.